And welcome to CBN4's Primetime News Package. For today, I am your presenter, Alian Christopher. As part of post-Maria assistance to the education system here in Dominica, Macmillan Caribbean and HarperCollins through the J's Limited bookstore earlier today made a donation of books to the Ministry of Education valued at 300,000 EC dollars. The Ministry of Education announced that this presentation was as a means of efforts made by John Lewis, owner of J's Bookstore, to assist the many affected schools here on the island. Lewis made this presentation to the Ministry of Education on behalf of both companies.
Yeah, so not only the company but also the staff is interested in us down here. So I'm not going to say very much about Collins, except to say that Collins also, although they do not have the presence that Macmillan has in Dominica, also felt an obligation to assist us in our times of need. And so they have consented to donate some secondary resource material, CXC resource material, and also some integrated science at lower secondary. I will make this presentation to the Ministry of Education, Dominica. Thank you.
The Chief Education Officer, Melina Fontaine, said that this donation comes in at an opportune time since Hurricane Maria caused severe loss within the education sector. She lamented that most schools have lost valuable resources essential for conducting classes.
J's Limited has over the years been a very good community partner to the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development. He is an honorary staff member. His willingness to work with us on matters related to education has certainly not gone unnoticed, and mere words are insufficient to express our gratitude. Time and again, he goes the extra mile to assist us in the Ministry of Education. His specialty is books and teaching learning resource materials, and today, through his company, J's Limited, we are pleased to receive over $300,000 worth of books for distribution to all our schools from the two main publishers.
Education Officer for the Eastern District, David Maxime, gave a few heartfelt words to show his appreciation for the provision of books to the Ministry of Education.
I had a little experience at home with my parents. There was this neighbor who needed some sugar, and my mother remarked, "Boy, the neighbor needs some sugar, but I'm afraid to give her, because if I give her, then what happens if we run out of sugar?" So I took the opportunity to make reference to this story in the Bible of the 10 virgins. I said, yeah, here goes the 10 virgin story. When you read the story, you would have thought that the persons who wanted to give were selfish. But here is the story playing out. So in the aftermath of Maria, you figure that it's hard to give and you want to hold on to everything that you have. But we're happy that Mr. Lewis is really teaching us a lesson in that regard. On behalf of the Ministry of Education, I would like to express our sincere thanks, sir, to Macmillan Caribbean and HarperCollins through the facilitator, Mr. Lewis, for this timely gesture. Timely in the sense that presently any contribution that is made to the Ministry of Education is really, really welcomed. And this one, a contribution of this quantum, is certainly going a long way in assisting our students who have been affected by Maria. So
he went on to say that words are not enough to say thank you. And also, the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development has advised that all students of the Dominica Grammar School are to report to school on Tuesday, January 16th. This includes students from Forms 1 and 2. Marissa Stedman has more details.
And CBN4 actually witnessed a number of students returning to the Dominica Grammar School to receive the big announcement. The Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development has advised all students to return to school as of next week, Tuesday, 16th, 2018. That is students from forms 1 to 5. The school has operated on a shift system, also accommodating students of the Goodwill Secondary. As of this week, the Goodwill Secondary is pleased to report that all students have been welcomed at these institutions since the Goodwill Secondary School suffered severe devastation as a result of the Category 5 hurricane. And the Dominica Grammar School will welcome all of its students from next week, Tuesday the 16th, from forms 1 to 5. They are asking that students be properly attired, wearing khaki skirt and pants and school socks and school shoes. CBN4 is reporting now at the Dominica Grammar School. Marisa Stedman, CBN4 News.
And thank you, Marisa, for that report. The school is now ready to accommodate its full student population, and students are also asked to report for classes beginning at 8 a.m. And also in the news, Public Relations Officer of the Dominica Electricity Service, Adina Bellat Valentine, has announced that the company continues to work extremely hard as it relates to restoring power to all of Dominica. In an interview with CBN4, Adina Bellat Valentine said Domlec ended on a high in 2017 where a number of communities were powered up. She noted that for 2018, the power company will continue to work earnestly at ensuring it meets the April deadline set for completion of restoration.
So as the new year begins, we continue in earnest. We continue with the commitment and the zeal and the vigor to continue to work and to work hard at ensuring that we meet the April 18 deadline that we have set for the restoration of all of Dominica. And so our crews are continuing to work. In fact, I just came from the field. Quite a lot of work has been done. A lot of work has been done in Castle Comfort and Wallhouse area. We also have crews in Goodwill. There's crews doing work up in the heights of Fortney, going towards Egliston area. There are crews in Canefield, there are crews in Fonkole, and we also have our crews in the north. We must not forget the north of the island in Portsmouth.
Valentine noted that work continues in the north of the island. She said that Portsmouth was first to receive power after the Princess Margaret Hospital.
Most of Portsmouth, all of Portsmouth has been energized. We've also energized in Tatan, and we've energized the circuit in Savonpai and also in Paybush. We continue to work. The guys in the north are working in the Georgetown area and heading to the T-Bay area, and also are continuing to focus on the line from our Sugarloaf plant in Portsmouth to the airport. That is about 40% complete. It is quite a long span from Portsmouth to Marigot, and so work on that area is continuing. Also too, I must say that our high voltage lines from the Sugarloaf plant to Blenheim has been energized, and so we continue to work to rebuild the low voltage lines and to continue to connect customers as quickly as we possibly can.
The Public Relations Officer also noted that the circuits in the Massac and Maho communities were energized and work will continue in these areas.
Massac Flat have received Empower. Before Christmas, we energized the circuits in Massac and Maho, and also to Jimmet as far as the Rodney's Rock area. So we did keep to the promise of doing certain areas in Massac and Maho, and of course on the Jimmet Flat, and we'll continue to work in those areas because the focus now is to continue to work in the areas where we have started that have not been completed, because we want all to be completed. We know everybody wants their power, but it is a one day at a time, one step at a time. We're working as quickly as we can. Prior to the Christmas holiday, we had quite a number of crews from overseas islands visiting and assisting us with the restoration process. They returned home for Christmas, and we are expecting those crews to return sometime towards the end of January. We still have the Cuban crew with us. The Cuban crew has been working excellently with us, and the Cuban crew will be with us until sometime in February. But we are expecting more crews to come in, more equipment up towards the end of January, and so that will greatly assist in speeding up the process of.
She further announced that the Cuban crews are still here on the island assisting and working extremely hard. And we'll be back with more news right after this break. And welcome back to CBN4's Primetime News Package. Shadow Flow, another Calypsonian who was set to perform on Wednesday, did not grace the stage after appearing late for his scheduled performance at the Stardom tent. The Calypsonian stood outraged at the tent and again blamed the coordinator for him not being able to perform. The public relations officer, Davidson Victor, believes that the coordinator made a judgment that he felt would be best for the outcome of the show.
In Stardom and in the Calypso fraternity, we don't want to, we never want to make Calypsonians feel like as if we are casting them out. So it's not a matter of he forfeit his term, because a lot of people, that happened to quite a bit of us, you understand, because we come late for whatever reason, but it's always our mentality to try to at least make the Calypsonian perform somewhere. But what happened is that there were so many Calypsonians who performed last night. So at the end of the show, when we do look and we realize, okay, Shadow Flow song is a slow song, the coordinator probably felt that it's a slow song, and then you had how many fast songs going to end the show, it would have been a little ticklish to send a slow song to end the show. So probably I haven't spoken to the coordinator yet, but probably that was the mentality of the coordinator at the time in terms of his judgment.
CBN4 met with the coordinator of the Stardom tent, Emmanuel Salamat, who indicated that although he has shouldered the blame for Shadow Flow not appearing on stage, he was unaware that Shadow Flow himself was at Stardom until the show neared its end. The coordinator informed CBN4 that Stardom Tent is not a competition, so Shadowflow did not forfeit his position by being late. However, him being late meant that Shadowflow had to continue, and that, he says, places a measure of pressure on the coordinators. Salman said that as for the quarterfinals, it is unlikely that a situation like this will arise. He stated that Calypsonians would dip to find out the order in which they are performing. According to him, that is set in stone. And Henson Prosper, better known as Inciter, took to the stage at Stardom Tent, where he sang his rendition of Hurricane Maria. In his song, Inciter refers to the Category 5 hurricane as a demon from hell. Inciter says that while many claims that too many songs are being written and sung about Maria, this is a popular subject that was likely to be composed. He says he is planning to release his song on the radio. Prosper noted that there is a need for writers within the Calypso Association. He emphasized that Calypsonians make a valuable contribution to the society and should encourage the youth to partake of it. He says this art form should not be neglected, especially now when there is a need for writers within the art form. Inciter went on to say the younger ones who show interest should be taught to replace those that are leaving the art form. And Staff Station Officer of the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Services, Wayne Later, has reported that the fire and ambulance services were faced with a different level of challenge after the passage of Hurricane Maria. Given the situation and conditions of the country post-Maria, Later noted that maneuvering different tasks pose different difficulties.
The Fire and Ambulance Services has not stopped in its duties. Even if it increases or reduces, we are still there working, and we continue to serve the nation of Dominica. But post-Maria brought a different level of challenge to us. It's not the everyday challenge, but it's a different level of challenge to the Fire and Ambulance Service Division. And in that of exhaustive work and, you know, a lot more to be done because we had the passage of the hurricane. Then maneuvering was a difficulty. We at the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Services got affected also by Hurricane Maria. But work in all, our duties in all was challenging, but we sufficed.
Later noted that the Dominica Fire and Ambulance Services received tremendous support from the regional forces and other agencies from around the region and the world post-Maria.
We had assistance following Hurricane Maria from regional forces. We can talk of from the Virgin Islands, we could talk of from Barbados, from Antigua, and the Caribbean islands where fire officers, you know, they normally help. We do that. So they came down to assist us, and we were very grateful for that. We also had a lot of agencies, volunteer agencies, and they were not working like I would say as part of us, but they operated from within the service because we gave them a lot of assistance. We are talking about volunteer groups, electricians, people who repaired houses. They came and they worked with us. We had arborists from Colombia, we had from Australia, we had from the UK. They came here and they worked as well with us, in tandem with us. So it was pretty challenging post-Maria.
Meantime, the Fire and Ambulance Service Department said the number of bushfires that it had to deal with between the months of October and December will surely go down in the history books of the Fire Department.
Of brush fires, and that these are fires related to bush, burning of garbage, burning of other material, debris, and so on. We have recorded the most in the history of the fire service, I would say, because from officers cannot recall when during that period of the year, between October and December, that the Fire and Ambulance Service responded to so many bushfires, and we had a lot.
The main cause of the extensive bushfires, later said, is that of clearing up after the storm.
One, I would say clearing up. Clearing and cleaning, and persons busy at clearing up, and they set heaps of lumber, light, branches, and then it gets out of hand, and then the fire service would be called upon to take care of it. But that's one of the main reasons, is the clearing up process that caused us to have so much bushfires.
Later also went on to provide the general public with a few tips on how to burn the debris set by Maria. He also noted that members of the Fire and Ambulance Services went out to various communities to spread the information about how to burn the debris.
From post-Maria, immediately after Maria, we realized that would be happening, so we started giving information to the public through the media, what they should do. And we were asking that persons burn in small heaps. Yes, we have to clean and we know the problem, but if we could burn in small heaps, always make sure that those heaps are attended by somebody looking at them, that they do not get out of control, and generally avoid burning throughout the nights. We would have rather that person burn throughout the days and in small heaps. But what we found out on going out in the communities is that persons had the challenge of compiling those things in heaps, because it was done by, in most cases, it was done by hand. So moving the debris away from all the other debris was a challenge for them. So a lot of persons said, yes, officers, we knew, but then getting it out from there to there is a problem, and the space to burn it was another issue. So they burned where they were in the city, wherever close to a house, wherever it was, they burned it. But I'm happy that we are almost done. We are almost through, and I can say for the past few weeks, Now, for the past 2 weeks or so, it has subsided. The amount of bushfires that we respond to in a day, it has subsided significantly.
Later said, compared to that of 2016, the fire and ambulance services recorded close to 9,000 ambulance calls for the year 2017. And that takes us to the end of the Primetime News package for today. On behalf of the entire CBN4 team, I am Alan Christopher saying thank you for watching, and do join us again next time.